Tariki 18 mweri naguo no wa gatatu mwaka wa 2025 aria hothe uratwirorera gwamukire na mokomere ngunyitio ugeni ni thaa imwe cia hwaini mathaa ma Afrika ya irathiro makumenya uria bũrũri wa Kenya uthiete na mbere na gukigariura jehokera ndagika 25 ngumenyithie maria mari metha-ini itu ya mohoro kuria mwena wa YouTube ni Mugi TV Kenya njariria ona nginyagia kuhitukira namba itu ya ndumiriri nguhi. Twambiririe na riboti itu ya mbere. Mucii munene wa Nairobi ni ati thutha wake gukorwo akirite kwa ihinda inene, mubunge wa Kiharu Ndindi Nyoro uria nowe urari muikariri giti wa kamiti ya budget guku bururi-ini bunge-ini ya gibũrũri riu ni arikitie kwaria muthenya wa umuthi hari giikaro-ini na andiki a mohoro. Ni arikitie kuhithuria ati we ndari gitumi ona kimwe oi kia gitumi giake gukorwo akiehererio giturwa ta muikariri giti wa kamiti ya budget. Ukiri uguo ni ugite we ndari na undu na mundu nawe muoroto wake no guthie na mbere na kurutira muingi wa Kiharu wira. Athiete na mbere na kuga ati ugemu no thiu mweru niguo guthie na mbere na kuonekana thiini wa gicigo bunge giki. Maya mothe magithiaga na mbere no athiete na mbere na guthingiriria bata wa urumwe na akiuga ati wenda kwaririria ciigemaine na uteti ihinda ria kinya ni agukorwo akiariria bũrũri. Muhaki wa Thũmbĩ niwe mwandĩki wa mohoro na kanya gaka utuhingurira mutambuko witu wa mohoro na riboti ino.
Thutha wa gukorwo akirite kwa ihinda na gukorwo ehereirio giturwa kia muikariri giti wa budget ya bũrũri, riu mubunge wa Kiharu Ndindi Nyoro ni atabanitie giikaro na andiki a mohoro. Mbere nene mubunge wa Kiharu Ndindi Nyoro ni acoketie ngatho ni gukorwo agitongoria giturwa gia kamiti ya mubunge na gutugiria atongoria aria makoretwo makirutithania wira hamwe.
And as I start, I first of all want to be very grateful. Myself personally for the chance I have had to serve the Kenyan people in the position of the chairman of the Budget and Appropriations Committee in the National Assembly. As you know and you have interacted, that has been my designation. And that is work we did with a lot of dedication. And I am grateful for that opportunity. I am also very grateful to have interacted with many people as I serve as the chairman of the Budget and Appropriations Committee. Of course, working with the Honorable Mary Amase, who was the vice chairperson, and all the other members, all the other 25 members, incorporating myself and the vice chair who make us 27. I am truly grateful for that chance.
Oho Nyoro ni augite giturwa giki ni giturwa kimuhingurite maitho hanene na kumwandandurira meciria, akiuga akoretwo akigeria uria angihota gutigirira bũrũri ni wambatira kiutonga.
That chance of serving as the chairman of the Budget and Appropriations Committee made me understand many things that I scarcely understood before. It made me know the workings of government in terms of its levels, its arms, departments and agencies of government, and how they work. And therefore, as much as it was work, it was also a profound learning experience that I am truly grateful for. I am also thankful for the fact that I had trained as an economist some many years back in KU. And when I got the chance to serve as the chairman of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, I had the first-hand learning of how macroeconomic parameters relate with each other. I was able to first-hand experience the things I was learning, and therefore it was also a continuation of a learning experience.
Gukiri uguo Ndindi Nyoro augite gukinyiria riu we ndari amenya na kwirwo gitumi giake ya kuhamurithio wabici-ini, akiuga we ona maundu make athomagira gatheti-ini.
It's very good for me to put it into record because, as I said, I was holding this position knowing that I was serving Kenyans, so I am also answerable. And in sincerity say, there is no one who has ever called me decision makers of our coalition to say anything around this. I read in newspapers about myself the same way you do. And in terms of this position, that's what I mean. And that's the truth. Moses of Star. You know, Moses...
Ugania wa mawoni kuma kuri a Kenya. Nyoro augite ni undu wa bata hari bururi wa Kenya, akiuga a Kenya ni mafate kuheagwo kanya gakuruta mawoni makiria gwa kinya ni ugai wa kigina.
Kenya is a robust country in terms of hearing your voice, but there is also work to be done in terms of incorporating all citizens, and especially in allocation of resources. There are things that I don't know whether there is a need to it. One of those things is public participation, because it's a continuous process which has to keep on improving, which has to keep on done better, because there is no perfection to it, but we can always polish it and do better about it.
Akioneka kweherera ciĩgimaine na uteti, augite matirega kuonana ona kana kwarĩrĩria ciĩgimaine na uteti na President William Ruto, akiuga ihinda rĩa kinya noe kwarĩria bũrũri.
I would not want, and you permit me to do that, not to discuss any further about any leader, because as you all aware, I stopped serving in my position. It's barely a week. I also need to understand many things before I talk, because I believe as a leader, I lead people. There are people who look up to us as leaders, and therefore even when you see that I am not answering some questions, it's not because I can't answer them. I believe you have covered me previously, and you know for sure that respectively in this world I only fear God. So whatever I need to say, I have no reservation of saying. But also, we are given wisdom to say when to say, how to say it. And I believe we are here in Kenya. We'll keep interacting. If there is more to be said, if there is more to be clarified, we are allowed.
Hindio iyo ni agathiriirie uthii wa nambere wa kiharo, akiuga ndagutigithiria.
And I am grateful. And by the way, I want to request anyone who would want to come to Kiharu to look at what we've been doing. We are more than glad to host you. We don't do these things, especially of hosting people, because we want to blow our own trumpet. We do these things because I am convinced that if leaders started competing on the basis of what they are doing, the country would become better wholesomely. If our competition as leaders is deliverables, and we compete about who is doing what in terms of tangibles and development, is a very good discussion that you would have as MPs, for example, because we hold CDF, and that is the reason why we would be glad even to host you. We have hosted, I think, 4 delegations of my colleagues in Kiharu on benchmarking exercises. We actually don't call them benchmarking. We call them peer-to-peer learning, because I also learn from them. I am not a non-knowing, and I also learn from my colleagues a great deal.
Ngiribotera Mugi TV, ritwa riakwa ni Mwihaki wa Thũmbĩ.
Ngatho Mwihaki, tuthi na mbere ni ati harigitani rungu rwa KMPDU Kuso o undu umwe na manathi na matafanitie mirurungano muthenya wa umuthi kaunti-ini ya Nairobi, na mwisho wa uhoro makinyagia nja cia Senate guku Nairobi. Mathiite na mbere na kuga no nginyagia arigitani rungu rwa UHC makorwo makiandika kana makorwo makiandikwo mawira ma gutura. Maugite mwaka muhituku hindi ya marigitani haria maigite mirothi, thirikari ni maiguithanirie ati gukinyagia mwambiririo wa mwaka uyu arigitani ni magukorwo makiheo mawira ma gutura, undu uria utari wakinyanira nginyagia riu. Oho no mathiite na mbere na gutetia agreement iria ciaiguithanirio mwaka wa 2017, makiuga agreement ici nginyagia riu citire cirathikiririo na thirikari ndire na gaceneni ga gucikinyaniria. Twamukira riboti ino.
Or in the plan that they can reduce the wages that were negotiated. As a union, we were here last year in a series of demonstrations, and we were dramatizing and expressing to the government that the collective bargaining agreement that was signed in 2017 to 2021 is sacrosanct. And we as a union cannot engage in a collective bargaining agreement negotiation for only a section of our members. We cannot sit down to negotiate for interns when consultants are not being negotiated for. We cannot sit down to negotiate for pharmacists when the interns are out. We cannot sit down to negotiate for medical officers when we leave the interns out. If we are negotiating a collective bargaining agreement, it is done in entirety from the interns to the consultants. We must involve all the dentists and everybody else. And that's why, yes, last year we fought very hard. We had bloodsheds. We had tear gas canisters around. We had sweats. But at the end of the day, the threats of the government, the intimidation, and any doubts that they will not comply to CBA were kicked away. And the doctors, currently interns who are in their facilities, were paid as per the CBA. We have noticed a new trend where the new cohort that is you appear to maybe less aggressive or maybe less ready to be on the street. And there's a thought to reduce your wages back to 70,000 was for last year. This year they probably reduced it to 40,000. I'm saying 40,000 because they're claiming
na tugitigana na ripoti yo ni ati bururi wa Kenya na bururi wa Netherlands ni wikiranire agreement cia kurutithania wira hamwe na makiria itanya-ini iria kwarahura wonjoria maiguithanirie guthi na mbere na kumatia ndugu kurehe aikari ha mabũrũri hamwe niguo gutigirira ati ugendi ni sector gatagati ka iria cigukorwo cikiarahuka na gikiro kinene guku bũrũri-ini. Ucenjia wa rĩera ugitiri no gatagati ka maundu maria mahutitio hindi ya agreement ici cia gatagati ka mabũrũri maya meri.
Another investment in the Sabaki bulk water supply in the coastal county of Kilifi, backed by Dutch partners. These projects will enhance access to clean and reliable water, a fundamental pillar for sustainable development and economic progress. Our discussions also focused on deepening cooperation in climate action, regional security, and people-to-people connections, particularly in education, tourism, and women's empowerment, ensuring that our collaboration aligns with global sustainable development goals and Kenya's national priorities. Their Majesties and I also debriefed on the peace and security challenges around the world and urged for strengthening of collective action and pacific settlement of disputes based on respect of the UN Charter. At the time of fraying partnerships, I urge their Majesties to maintain Netherlands' commitment to the principles of global solidarity and subsidiarity.
We believe in the future of Kenya, a future that will be determined by the Kenyan people. With a population whose average age is 20, your country is fortunate that it can rely on the ideas and energies of millions of young citizens. The people of Kenya, like those of the Netherlands, want their rights as free citizens to be respected and their voices to be heard. I'm pleased that our country's strong and mature relationship allows us to devote attention during this visit to issues like human rights, good governance, and accountability. We're grateful to have the opportunity to discuss the concerns that exist in these areas. Later this morning, at the Ambassador's residence, we will be meeting young Kenyans to hear their views on recent developments.
Na tukithie na mbere ni ati ngwataniro ya ene ngari cia ukui wa muingi guku ni kaunti-ini ya Makueni ni maigite miro yao thi na kurugamia mihango ya ukui na kuria mathite na mbere na guthingiriria matigokorwo makireha magoti thiini wa kaunti ino angikorwo thirikari ya kaunti ndikumathikiriria na ikorwo ikihamurithia ngari nini na iria cirakuwa muingi citari na marua metikiriku mwena ucio mugite kwa ihinda inene makoretwo magicaya na thengia wa ukorwo thogora wa muturire ni wongererekete na indi ngari ici nini cio citirarengwo mbeca ona thengia gũkorwo magĩkua mũingĩ maugĩte ũndũ ũyũ nĩ ũthiĩte na mbere na kũmahinyĩrĩria kuona kĩrĩa maraingĩria mĩhuko-inĩ yao nĩ kĩnini na tigĩtira maigana kũrĩ ũtũũro wao wa oro mũthenya. Macharia wa Macharia nĩ wĩna riboti ĩno makĩria.
Ũkui wa matatũ thitĩnji-inĩ ya Makueni nĩ ũharaganĩte kwa ihinda rĩa mathaa matano na kĩrĩa kũrerĩkana nĩ ngari na mũthemba wa Probox iria icokete gũkuĩra athii barabara-inĩ, ngari iria cirĩ thitĩnji na iria igataga marũa mbeca nyingĩ mũno ikĩaga athii, na rĩu makauga nao matigũikaria ngari ciao stage mekumĩria barabara-inĩ kũrĩa maumĩrĩte na gũkuĩra mĩkĩra-inĩ ya njĩra.
Sisi hatuna shida na hao watu wa Probox. Shida ni moja, tukikuwa zote tumekusanyika mahali pamoja. Mtu anachukua longi na maziwa. Kila nyumba maziwa tuwe pata maziwa. Lakini sasa wao wamekusanyika. Pandingo na waiba wako, kaveo wako.
Tumekuwa na changamoto mingi sana hapa Makueni. Mojawapo ikiwa ni zile Probox ambazo haziingii kwa uwanja. Hazilipi ile kodi inafaa kulipwa kila.
Magari zetu pale haziwezi toka kama hazijalipia stika. Na unapata tunalipa pesa mingi. Kuna zile zinalipa 3,000 per month, 32 per month. Kwa mwaka pia tunalipia hiyo ni stika tofauti. Na unapata kazi ipo nje, kule ndani hatupati wateja, wanabebewa huko.
Rĩu kĩama kĩa ũkui wa matatũ thitĩnji-inĩ ĩno maugĩte ngari ici ciaga kuoerwo ikinya Irumu, onao matigwĩtĩkĩra kũrĩha marũa ma ũkui rĩngĩ.
Wamekuwa na challenge kubwa ambao hawashikwi na walipi chochote katika kaunti yetu, na tukijaribu kulia kidogo wao wamekuwa wakitulemea ni kama kuna mtu ako nyuma yao.
Isi unlicensed PSVs lazima siondoke Makueni, na tukaelewana na county government ya kwamba in 2 weeks time watatupea report vile watasiondoa, na sisi tukaamua ya kwamba kama hizo Probox asiondolewi kwa kaunti yote, si hapa wote peke yake, sisi watu wa matatu tutalipa kodi ya kaunti ya mwezi kutoka tarehe 1 mwezi wa 4.
Ona kũrĩ ũguo igeria rĩa kwaranĩria na gĩkundi kĩa ngari nini cikoretwo igĩkuĩra bara nĩ kĩringĩte ihiga na makĩrega gũka kwarĩrĩria ũhoro ũyũ, na kũrĩa ikundi ici cierĩ rĩu icemanĩtie na komanda wa borithi Alice Kimei.
Tumekubaliana baada ya miezi mitatu tumetekeleza yale mambo ambayo wamekuwa wakizungumzia ili tuwe na sanity na order katika soko yetu ya wote.
Mũingĩ nĩ ũrĩtie bara ici cikorwo ikĩninwo na ihenya ta ũrĩa kwahotekeka nĩguo mĩthiĩre yao ya thabarĩ ĩkorwo ĩkĩhũtha. Handũ-inĩ ha Mũgĩ TV rĩakwa nĩ Macharia wa Macharia.
Nĩ ngatho Macharia wa Macharia, riboti ĩyo ĩgĩtũhe kanya na gũtwĩtĩkĩria tũrikĩrie oro hanini thutha wa ndagĩka citarĩ coho. Ndĩracokereria na mohoro mangĩ maingĩ, ndũgathiĩ kũraya.
The Betty Maviti Roberts Education Center nĩ thukuru wa mũndũ kĩũmbe ũrĩa wambĩrĩirio mwaka wa 2009 mwena wa Ranet na Ikuru. Tũheanaga mathomo gĩkĩro kĩa natharĩ, primary na secondary. Tũheaga arutwo aitũ maumĩrĩra mega ma igeranio ciao hamwe na gũkorwo andũ marĩ na wĩigĩrĩrĩki bũrũri-inĩ. Tũrathiĩ na mbere na kwandĩkithia arutwo a natharĩ, PP1 na PP2. Gĩkĩro kĩa primary tũrandĩkithia kuma grade 1 nginya grade 7, na kĩo gĩkĩro gĩa secondary tũrandĩkithia kuma form 1, form 2 ona nginya form 3. Ha ũhoro makĩria no ũhũre thimũ kũrĩ namba 0701 098014 kana ũcere website-inĩ itũ nĩyo www.robertsedu.org. The Betty Maviti Roberts Education Center, pursuing beyond the competencies of your child.
Inyuretha duka ũngĩgũra fabric address ndũgathenĩke rĩngĩ. Nĩamu Track Sound Audio Limited mehaha nĩ ũndũ waku. Aya nĩ endia ngũthi a speakers, mixers, equalizers, microphones, guitars, keyboards, haze machines, linear speakers, park and lights, amplifiers, drum sets na indo ingĩ nyingĩ. Me mũciĩ mũnene wa Nairobi, Luthuri Avenue, kana mwena wa Mombasa barabara-inĩ ya Haile Selassie. Nĩ ũndũ wa ũhoro makĩria, mahũrĩre thimũ kũgerera 0722 755 207 kana 0799 313131. Track Sound Audio Limited. We make sound better.
Right on time kama kawa kamada. Raundi hii kwenye studio za Moge TV na mheshimiwa Vampa the DJ, vitu brand, vitu mwaki, action, vihindi, comedy, usije unalicheza mbali. Kuanzia siku ya Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, kisha kama kawa siku ya Friday na kusukumia kigujilati kihindi, usiwe unalicheza mbali baada zaidi kisha na Moge TV. Kisha magedha ya mchana kama kawa kamada. Kuanzia vile saa 8 nitakuwa pia bado na kuingilia zaidi vile kishainande na vitu brand new. Pia bado siku ya Sato usiwe unalicheza mbali, nitakuwa na nyoroka na wewe na reso kama kawa kamada. Ni mimi wako mheshimiwa Vampire Vamps hizo the DJ wanoriji Auto Shadow Products hizo ka DJ.
Thai mweka hitukende kamirongo iri na igire na gitio kenene gwamukire gonyitio gani oringi tuthi na mbere na kumurika mohoro maria ndi na mo family ya Brian kana wakiri wa family ya Brian Odhiambo niwe ambuya mugendi ni ugite kuri na jama ifagitwo kuhithirira kana kuhotomia hari gwethwo kwa mwiri wa Brian Odhiambo oni thutha wa ruhongero thuthuria na family kuruta ndumiriri ya kwaga kwa mwiri wa Brian marauga ati makoretwo makimwetha mutito wi hakuhi na iriare na ikuru tha mundu mwe kuga nionire mwiri wa Brian mwena uyu riu family iramatha kihoto kia Brian makiuga ati kwa ihinda ria mieri eri mationaga toro kuona mamwethaga o gwakia ona miaraho orangijagia tuko.
Mimi kama msasi sijaridhika na kenye nimeona. Hizo grave yenye nimeona ni kama zimetolewa mwili ndani, zimefichwa pahali. Si ati tumeenda huko bure, lakini najua itajulikana tu.
Mimi kitu naweza waambia, kesho tunafikisha mwezi 2 tangu Brayo apotee. Msaidieni tu, amsaidie watoto wangu kutupatia tu Brayo na justice ya Brayo.
Let us remind everyone that the witness that we had did not, beat around the bush. When we arrived at the scene, he went straight to where he said he saw the bodies. If he has been away, how did he know that there are holes there, that there are graves there, or anything that might have been there? This is the question we are asking. The witness said that he saw shallow graves, and that in one of those graves, there was the body of Brian Odhiambo. We went up to that particular spot. It was marked by the DCI as spot number 4. We even tried to dig, but there was nothing there. But clearly, without a doubt, there was a hole there.
There has been, in our view, concerted efforts to frustrate the entire exercise of an investigation into the now what we understand to be the forced disappearance of Brian Odhiambo. When we got to the park today, of course, there were intense, checks. They had to even, ask that we only a few of us get into the park. Of course, they said they had their reasons to do that. When we were still there, we learned that, number one, all those officers that were
tugakihoka family ya Brian Odhiambo ni maukoro makiona mwiri wa mwana wao na makiria ngai wa moyo harogethie na mbere na gukimahe thayo. Tugithie na mbere ni ati mutaratara wa githomo gya CBC uthiete na mbere na kugomerwo ni mathina maingi kodorita makiria kaunti-ini ya Migori. Undu ucio ngreirie anyiti itemi sekta-ini ya githomo undumwe na arugamiriri mathukuru thiini wa kaunti ino undumwe na arutani anene kwa gukira ringi na kwiturura riu maugite wagi wa irathi cia kuigana, wagi wa arutani undumwe na wagi wa mafuku na laboratories nĩ gatagatĩ ka mathĩna marĩa makoretwo makĩgerera rĩu maikĩtie rĩtana kũrĩ thirikari kũhĩtũkĩra ministry ya gĩthomo gũkũ bũrũri-inĩ ĩkorwo gĩetha kĩhonia gĩa gũtũũra na gũtigĩrĩra mathĩna maya nĩ makinya mũthia. Mwandĩki wa Mohoro Lisa Mutinda ena riboti ĩno kĩhinyio.
Mũbango mwerũ wa CBC no thiĩte na mbere nĩ kũgũmĩrwo nĩ mathĩna mwena-inĩ wa kaunti ya Migori icagi-inĩ. Atongoria a cukuru ũyũ makiuga mĩthingi ĩtarĩ mĩnyitanĩru nĩyo gĩtũmi gĩa CBC gũtharara.
Right now, as we prepare for CBC, we still have a problem of infrastructure. In particular, we need a modern science laboratory as we plan to take STEM as one of the pathways in CBC.
Maugĩte rĩrĩa mekwĩka maharĩria ma kĩrathi kĩa kenda no makorwo na mathĩna ma gũkinyanĩria wendi wa arutwo gĩtũmi arĩ kũnyihĩrwo nĩ indo cia gũkinyanĩria gĩthomo.
Lead to the government is we need a modern science laboratory as we prepare for CBC as one of the pathways in CBC.
Arimũ aya marauga nĩ magĩte mĩako ya kĩrĩu nĩguo kwĩharĩria CBC ĩrĩa menao makiuga nĩ ngũrũ mũno kũringana na rũhonge rwa CBC STEM makĩhoya laboratory ici.
We have a challenge of our laboratories. The ones that we have are old and cannot support STEM as a pathway. So as my principal has said, one of our requests that we have is that we be supported so that we get a modern laboratory.
Ngiribotera Mugi TV, njĩtagwo Lisa wa Mutinda.
Na riboti ya mwandĩki wa Mohoro Lisa Mutinda nĩ aratwethereria mũtambo witũ wa Mohoro ma ithaa rĩrĩ. Mohoro mangĩ na njĩra hithĩranĩte nĩ thĩinĩ wa mũtambo witũ wa Mohoro ma thaa ithatũ. Thiĩ na mbere na gũcagũra ceceni ya Mugi TV nĩ ngetĩka mũnyaka wa ngure mũhaki wa thũmbĩ marĩ na Waithĩra wa Nyahi nĩo matigĩrĩra mũtambo witũ wa Mohoro na wa gũkinyĩra wĩ hau mũciĩ tũgĩnagia thĩ wona ciagĩra thaa ithatũ.